Hi, lovely ladies, or hi, you. I'm essentially talking to each of you individually because you're all watching the replay, which is a first for me, but I get it. It's the time of year, it's hibernation time, and I don't know if I would attend a workshop at this time myself if I wasn't hosting it. So hello and welcome to this replay on LinkedIn Content 101. I've got you all in my head and I just want to say a quick hi out to all of you. So we've got Sam, Nadej, Deborah, Sandra, Trebeni, Katrin, another Katrin, different spelling, Shania, Gabby, Melanie, Vicky, Laurie, Barbara, Dion, Lorraine, Nicola, Zoe, Tina, Sharon, and Jennifer, another Jennifer. I'm not talking to myself. So I'm going to bring up my slides now. And if you've got any questions after watching this, don't be shy, reach out to me. I'm all ears. I'm excited to share about the new algorithm with you because it has changed, not all for, the worst. Like there's some good things. Um, and hopefully you'll go away being a bit more clear on how you're going to use content going forward, the kind of types, the type of formats you're going to use, maybe the type of length, whether it's short form or long form. So I'm really hoping this makes your content a lot easier going forward and a lot more strategic and smart, okay? Because I know most of you want to have the content to help you, and I know this is a bit cheesy, but to ring the bell. So I'm going to be focusing on LinkedIn content that converts. So I'm going to bring up the slides now, and hopefully they work. Yeah, it should be all good now. Okay, so LinkedIn content 101 and 360 brew. A lot of this won't be relevant. I'm going to fly through this now. First one is relevant. Turn off any distractions. Not relevant. Bring your best energy. You can do that. Engage with yourself and watch the replay. Okay, there we go. So roughly this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be talking about the 9 main types of content. A lot of people think that there's really only 1 or 2 ways of using content, but there's a lot more. I'm going to tell you about the ones that are working now, and the ones that have less impact. But of course, you know yourself, this could all change in the next few months. I'm going to be talking about the new AI system that's running LinkedIn. That's called 360 Brew. I'm going to be touching on key findings of the Algorithm Insights Report 2025, and I'll explain a bit about that in the next slide. What's working? Boosted posts, are they worth it? Are they worth the money? Content tools and tips. And I'm going to attach a few links in the email to go with this as well, especially in relation to the content tools. All the tools I'll be recommending, I'm either using myself or I've used myself. I'd never recommend anything that I've not used or that I don't rate, okay? And I like to think they're all super cost effective and they're all really good. They're going to save you time and they're going to help you make more impact, okay? So who is this guy? So, if you don't know Richard van der Blom, or van der Bloom, I'm not quite sure how he pronounces it. I should have actually clicked on his name pronunciation. Richard is the ultimate geek when it comes to the LinkedIn algorithm, and every year he releases a report, and he usually analyzes about 2 million posts, and it's a really comprehensive, in-depth report that you don't need to read. I'm going to be sharing the kind of the top line things that are important. And I would urge you as well to follow Richard or reach out and connect with him. Tell him I sent you. He may have reached his maximum connections. I imagine he has, he's way over 30,000 connections. But if not, follow him because he will condense all of the information from that report into his content, and all of his content will be about the algorithm. Okay. He is the best person on LinkedIn for the algorithm. And yeah, he's the ultimate algorithm geek, and I really rate him. Okay. And you can see even on his LinkedIn profile at the very top, new algorithm report available. Okay. So if you're curious to have a look and see what the hell is Jen sharing from? It's that, okay? So a few of these slides you'll already know, but I'm going to fly through them, okay? So just to recap, there are now 1.3 billion members on LinkedIn, and Obviously the algorithm has changed and it's a good thing I think, and it's just a case of adapting your strategy, and I'm going to help you. But it's also good to caveat that content alone won't get you consistent clients. Content's just part of the mix. It's an important part. So you need three things. One, your profile, which positions you as a relevant expert. And actually your profile is going to be more important than ever with the new algorithm, and I'll go into that later on. Content that converts, which is what we're doing now, and lead gen in the DMs, because content is the conversation starter, but the DMs close. So there's no point having amazing content if you're not going to take those conversations into the DMs, because the DMs are what leads to a sales call or an email or taking someone off the platform, to a Zoom or whatever. Okay, so you need the three together, and I just want to caveat that, okay? So people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. The trust factor is so important now in 2025. Buyers are way more tech savvy online than they were before the pandemic. They need way more digital touch points before they decide to part with their cash. They are just more savvy in general. So you really need to build that trust factor, that know, like, and trust. And the role of content can help set you apart. And content's going to relate to so many things, the content in your profile and the content on the home feed, and of course the content on your DMs, and they all have to be saying the same thing. Relevance and consistency and being congruent, having the same message again and again and again. So that's one key finding from the algorithm, and I'll go into it in a few slides. And that's an exciting finding because it's going to make your life easier. Being consistent with certain teams, and I know some of my clients do struggle with this. They don't really like repeating yourself, but you're going to have to repeat yourself with the new algorithm to get impact. And it's going to make your life a lot easier. You kind of have to become like an ad on a loop, because with the algorithm, not everybody's going to see your posts anyway at the same time. And if you're talking about too many disparate things, you're going to confuse people, and a confused mind will always say no. So if you become more clear with your content and clear with your, content pillars and your teams, it will be easier to buy from you. Okay. So it's that know, like, and trust. I know there's a lot of people bang on about consistency. Being consistent is good, obviously, but you need to be congruent with it. You need to have the same message, because if you're consistently posting about very different things, people really won't know what you stand for and what you really specialize in. Okay. So, which actually leads me to slight sidetrack. If you're somebody who does a lot of reshares on LinkedIn, and I can think of one lovely client now that I'm going to DM later, because I've noticed she's doing quite a lot, and she's kind of resharing a lot of jobs within her network, which is amazing. All I would say is, if you are ever doing a reshare, make it your second post of the day, because the algorithm will always favor your first, and you want to put yourself first. And I know that might sound selfish, but if you are doing a reshare, do it second post of the day. And I would say do it maybe only once a week, because you still want to keep people in with you for your themes, So maybe you want to pick a day on the weekend or something like that, to share. So do be mindful, because if you share a reshare first, your actual post is going to get diminished reach, okay? So why do you share content anyway in the first place? I'm going to fly through this. It keeps you top of mind. So it's great if you're doing a lot of networking, and I'm thinking of Shania here, one of my lovely clients who does a lot of networking. So it helps you be visible in between all those sessions, and it's all about the mere exposure effect. It increases awareness of your business, your brand, your personal brand. It helps make you seem more credible, more trustworthy, helps to create your network and generate opportunities, because you can't generate opportunities if people don't know you exist. It allows you to control the conversation, which is one of the great things about content. I think a lot of people are nervous to actually start posting, but the great thing is when you post on your preferred theme or topic, that's all you're going to have to talk about, you know? So it is a great way of you controlling the narrative and what you want to put out there. And I just want to share this quote from this great book, They Ask You Answer. I'm not sure if any of you have read it. If you haven't, I can fully recommend it. It's all about content. And Marcus Sheridan is a lovely guy. I'm pretty sure he connected you on LinkedIn if he's not reached his maximum. I know he connected with me pretty quick. So this is a quote from the book from Marcus. With content, a relationship of trust can be built with the salesperson and the company long before the first sales meeting. Great content means more trust means shorter sales cycles. And of course, we want shorter sales cycles. So a lot of the time, by the time somebody books a sales call with you or emails you or, you know, sends a form to your website, they've usually binged on your content and they are usually super warm as to how like as to working with you, and that's one of the great things about content. It really is a great primer really, if you will. And how do you build trust with your content? So I'm going to give you a few quick things that you can all do. Okay, you can address customer fears, worries and concerns, answer questions. Think of the frequently asked questions that you get asked again and again and again. Sorry about that. For me, it's about premium, you know, should I be on premium? Should I be on the free version? It can be about, people have asked me about, you know, various parts of the tech, you know, how do I create a newsletter or how do I do a live or how do I use a LinkedIn event? So I've created, you know, newsletters all around them that I can share again and again. So think to yourself, what are the customer questions that you get asked again and again? Because that's great content. Answer any objections. That way, you don't need to do as many objections on your sales calls. You kind of get it out of the way in your content and be honest and fully transparent. Okay. So LinkedIn's still an untapped platform for coach, consultants, and creators. Are the main ladies I support. I think most of you, I'm trying to think now. Yeah, you pretty much all fall into that. Still have like roughly 1% creators, 9% commenters, 90% lurkers. And there's still great untapped possibility for you on LinkedIn. And I want you to make the most of it by understanding the algorithm, okay? And I know a lot of people hold themselves back from posting content. There's a lot of overthinking, you know, and I'm just going to fly through these. They're not, well, they are all relevant, really. What if I'm not ready? You are ready. You're all amazing and you've got great things to share. What if I don't know enough? You don't need to know everything. You just need to be like one or two steps ahead of the person you're about to help. What if I don't have the right, you know, time? I'm going to share a tool with you so you can schedule your content if you don't want to do it every day. And of course, you can outsource this. If your joy is not in scheduling content or writing content, don't be shy to outsource and delegate. I'm different because of X. None of us are really that different, really, to be honest. And I don't have the money, can't afford it. Um, can you afford to not be visible and have your ideal customers not know that you even exist? And I think the digital space is becoming harder to cut through. So the more kind of touch points you can have, the better. I'm not saying you have to post relentless content on LinkedIn and you don't. And I'll go into different options because sometimes less is more, you know, but I do think it's important to have some content out there. Um, and I'm going to be sharing tools that are super affordable, okay? They're not going to be expensive at all. And action creates confidence. You know, with anything, it's what builds that momentum. You know, I was terrified of my first few posts on LinkedIn, um, my first few comments. And the more you do it, the more you desensitize, really. And at the end of the day, LinkedIn, it's a social network and it's a communication tool. And I think if you treat it like a tool, then you'll become more confident on there, okay? And we're all winging it. We're all making it up as we go along as business owners, okay? Nobody knows more than you. They've just gone for it or they've outsourced and they've got somebody else going for it, okay? So what are the main types of LinkedIn posts? I'm just going to quickly fly through these and you don't need to do all of these. I'm going to tell you which ones are working and you like some more than others. The first is text only, up to 3,000 characters. And that can still work for a lot of um, industries and personality types. I know a lot of introverts like text only. Post with image. This is super popular at the moment. I think it's to do with that trust factor and having that visual video. Short form videos are what works the best on LinkedIn, ideally with captions, but it's not the end of the world if you don't have captions, if you do a 30-second or a 60-second video. Document posts, that's a PDF, okay? So it could be like a one-page checklist, it could be a report, several pages, it could be a white paper. So documents are PDFs, okay? It's a fancy way of saying PDF. Giving shout out type of posts, giving kudos, to a new team member, that kind of thing. LinkedIn article slash newsletter. I would always advocate a newsletter over an article. The reason being they both are the exact same tech-wise, they look the exact same, but when you do an article, it's just one individual post and it's like any content post in the algorithm, it will disappear. When you do a newsletter, when you do your very first one, a message will be sent to all of your first degree connections asking them to subscribe. And then future newsletters, they will see it with the algorithm. So I've got nearly 8,000 subscribers on mine, and I really need to make more of it, to be honest. It's one of those where I'm listening to this and I'm like, oh, I need to do that myself. So newsletter, go for that. Even if you're not going to be super consistent, I still say do a newsletter. And there are various types of newsletters you can do. You can do like daily, weekly, monthly. And I've got a newsletter on this. I might actually put that in the email as well. I'm a big fan of the newsletter. LinkedIn Lives, ideally 30 minutes in length. And I actually might ping a link in. I did one yesterday with my lovely client Shania, which is why she's in my head, which was on three decisions that are keeping founders up at night. So I think that could be quite interesting for all of you. Um, LinkedIn polls, not as popular as they once were, but they're still around, and LinkedIn events. So I'm going to go into these a little bit more going forward. And like I said, you don't need to use all of these. I'm going to tell you which ones are working the most. So, what's popular now at the end of 2025? Okay. First, documents up by 46%. So, like I said, these are PDFs. They can be a one-page checklist, they can be a report, they can be a carousel of images, that you create on Canva. Um, yeah, anything that's a PDF are really popular. Things that people scroll through, whether it's visuals or words, they are really popular at the moment. Newsletters are up 46% as well, okay? Long form content. And personally, I'm leaning towards this a bit more for 2026 because it's a lot less work. And it's something that you can refer on to leads again and again and again. Like I said, those FAQs can be made into into a newsletter and you can address all objections in there as well. Text and image is the most popular because we're living in that kind of trust economy. And I think with all the AI, and I don't know about you, but I do see more and more AI generated headshots on LinkedIn. And I actually see some AI generated images in content. And it does turn me off. I don't know if it does it for you, but I just think, ugh, I see it and I'm like, that's not you. You don't really look like that. So I do think proper visuals, selfie style, real pictures are going to carry like more weight going forward because yeah, it's all about that trust. Things going down, the old Lego picture is turned upside down. Video is down 35%. They tried to do a big launch about a year and a half ago saying, oh, LinkedIn, video, it's all coming. It's not really taken off on the platform. And I think the reason most people are on LinkedIn is because they're more text-based people. They don't necessarily want video on LinkedIn. They're there to connect and have relationships, not to look at a lot of video. For that they go to YouTube. So video's down, but as far as I know, they are going to try and relaunch it again next year. I'm still on the fence. Oh, I've got Katrin here actually. So I'm going to let her in. Okay. Hi, Katrin. Hi, Katrin. I know you're listening, so
Hi,
just
yes, I am. Sorry, I'm just going to go off mute. Sorry, I can't be on video, but I'm here. Thank you so much for having me.
no problem,
Better
no
late
problem.
than never.
Yeah, don't worry. And just so you know, Katrin, you're the only one on live because everybody else is watching the replay.
Oh, okay. I'm going to probably watch the replay, but I'll be on for a few minutes anyways,
Yeah,
while
yeah.
I
And
can.
yeah, thank you for coming in. It's nice to have a human being.
I'm here. I'm just, yes, I can't be on video, but thank
I-
you.
I'll actually recap the last slide for you because I think that'll be good for you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, don't worry. So I was just basically saying the format and contents that are really popular at the end of 2025. Documents, which are PDFs. So that's either a checklist or a carousel or a white paper report. Anything that you have to scroll through, that's a PDF, is really popular at the moment. And newsletters are really popular as well, long form content. And when it comes to like short form content, text and image beats text on its own. And the image has to be real, not AI. So they're what are popular now. And the format's losing traction is videos down 35%. It never really took off on LinkedIn. They might launch it again next year. Polls are massively down by 70% because I think there was just so much. There were so many polls a few years ago. Everything was a poll. And I think people are just a bit jaded. They're still on there and you can still use them, but I would just, say use them sparingly. Text only posts are slipping, so that photo makes a difference. I'm not personally a massive fan of selfies, but that being said, one of the tools I want to share with you is this online course by my last photographer, Rosie. She actually did my headshot and any of the images in my banners. Rosie took them all, and she has an online course and a community. So it's not just a course where she teaches you how to create really good quality selfies. So she teaches you all about the lighting, the positions, and they are very good quality. A lot of them look like brand photos. So I will share the link for this. Like I said, I'm not a massive fan of selfies, but I have done quite a few true Rosie's course, and the best way to do them is always to batch, when you've got your hair done or your makeup on and you're like, okay, sod it, I'm gonna do it today. But I can absolutely recommend this because people are craving more real images. Because sometimes as well, with a professional photo shoot, they look too perfect. So yeah, real is what's winning at the moment. And I'll share the link. It's super cost effective. I think I paid 200 or something. And I think you can even do it monthly for a few months. And what's so great about this, it's not something, I mean, the course is great, but it's actually the community. She's got a little Facebook group community. Well, it's not that little. There's about 250 business owners in there from all around the world, and they're all sharing their selfies and giving each other critique. And Rosie's super active, so she will go in and really critique your shots. So if you're brave enough to kind of go for it and share your pictures, she will tell you how to improve it going forward, the lighting, the position, do this, do that. She's amazing. And it's one of those where I'm listening, going, I need to do more of that as well. I'm in there, but I'm kind of lurking, but I need to I need to do a bit more. Okay, so this is now a bit about AI 360 Brew, which is the new algorithm, and I'm going to break it down. So with the old LinkedIn algorithm, There are some crossovers. So when you did any content with the old algorithm, within the first hour, the algorithms would determine whether your post was spam, low quality, or clear. And if it was clear, they would push it out to more people in your network, okay? And there were several things that were taken into account. Such as commenting, commenting like it's oh, even on your own posts, you probably will notice. You'll notice on the home feed a lot of like content influencers, they will have done a lot of comments underneath their own post, and sometimes they have a little pin icon. And the reason they do that is they want to trick the algorithm into thinking that there's a lot of great engagement here. So they do their first comment to kind of boost start it. So commenting is still important with the new algorithm, and it worked with the old. Hashtags, nah, hashtags are gone on LinkedIn. You don't really need to bother. If you want to put one or two, I would, that's fine, but I wouldn't go crazy because they're not really working anymore. Timing is still going to be important, depending on when your audience are online, so it's always good to test out your content and see what works. Like for me, it tends to be, like in the old days when we worked in corporate, it's kind of like that morning slot, 7 to 9 a.m. when people are first going on, or it could be a little bit at lunch, or it could be in the evening. But for me, I tend to do all my content really in the morning if I'm scheduling it between that like 7 and half 8 or 7 and 9 slot. So timing is still important. I don't know if you remember like LinkedIn All Stars from years ago. You had to have certain things ticked in your profile to get that All Star. And if you had that All Star, you showed up more in search. Um, an SSI score, your social selling index score, with the old algorithm was quite important what the score was. Not so much with the new algorithm at all. It's kind of all changed. And now the SSI score is more. It's more hacky. It's more trying to sell you Sales Navigator, really. So if your score is down, it's not the same. So in the past, these were important and they boosted your reach. They're not relevant with the new algorithm. External links with the older algorithm, if you shared one, it would kind of take away from your post. It's still the case with the new algorithm. I'll break it down. But yeah, things that are gone that you don't need to worry about really are hashtags. Forget that. And don't worry about your SSI score anymore. It's not relevant. Okay. Before, there was a lot of vanity metrics. You had a lot of different algorithms focused on different tasks. Okay. So there was a lot of algorithms behind the scenes doing different things. There was a focus on that quick engagement within the hour and activity, views and impressions, likes, all of that. Comments like great post from non-ideal clients. You'd see a lot of influencers, with engagement pods and all these inane comments below. And one good thing about the new AI 360 Brew, it can detect pods really quickly. And these kind of comments, great post and all that, they're not going to get the traction anymore, which is brilliant. It is a positive. Okay. So you got rewarded for frequent posting, but it was never really about quality. It was that kind of post, 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 post. Okay. So this is what it was up to a while ago. And now it's more sanity metrics, which I'm happy about. It's more about quality now versus quantity. So with the AI, the 360 Brew, it's now one system that connects everything. Whereas before it was all these disparate algorithms kind of fighting with each other, okay? Now it's about everything. It's about DMs, real connections, meaningful engagement in comments, not just great post, bro. None of that. And there are rewards for high quality content. Okay, so posting often doesn't mean anything anymore. It's far better to have like one good post a month than 20 not great posts. Okay, it's all about high quality so that you can book discovery calls with the right people. Okay, so this means that focusing your posts on insights, they need to be tied to your expertise. So with the new algorithm, it's all about relevancy, okay? because a lot of people used to post about different things, and the new algorithm doesn't like that. It wants to see that everything is congruent and tied to each other, your profile, your content, that they all make sense and that they're all relevant. So this is just a quick plug for this great book as well, The Bookability Formula. I've just read it, and she actually encapsulates what I want to say anyway. Without relevance, you risk becoming just another voice in the crowd. Being relevant pays, and it will pay on LinkedIn. So you really have to have some set key content pillars going forward. You really need to kind of stay in your lane. So with the new algorithm, here are just some of the findings. So it reads your content and your profile together to decide if your post is relevant. So if you're posting about something like your holiday or, I was in a hospital or anything like that, it won't really like that. You really kind of have to stick to what you do. It doesn't count just reactions and comments, which is great. It assesses how everything looks and reads, okay? So in the past, even with profiles and like LinkedIn headlines, you could have a lot of like truncated things like, marketing manager, author, speaker, podcaster. Going forward, that won't work as well because the AI is going to want to know like longer kind of sentences. It's going to need more clarity and structure and tone. So it's going to assess how everything looks and reads. So yeah, clarity, tone, and structure will all be, considered. And basically, it's looking at the overall meaning, okay? So it's not taking content in isolation. It's seeing, does this match this person's profile? Are they, are they singing from the same hymn sheet, basically, okay? So your profile will carry more weight than ever, okay? So just ask yourself if you've got a clear or a confusing brand because you really want it to match what you're saying in your content. And your headline, your about section, your skills, and your recent activity, this all of these are going to help the new AI system identify what you stand for. So those sections are going to be really important. Headline, about section, skills, and recent activity, okay? Consistency and congruency are super important because you have to be the same shape everywhere, and this is great really because it just means it's going to make your content so much easier. And you want everything to kind of marry with each other, and you want your LinkedIn profile to marry with your website or any other platform. You want it to be saying the same thing. You want to be the same shape, basically. So it's going to be really handy to have key content pillars. Okay, so if you can stay within like 3 to 5 topic areas, that will help 360 Brew understand your expertise and connect you with the right audience. Because at the moment, people are seeing different connections on their feed, not the people they were chatting to before. And it's because the AI is kind of showing you to different people, especially if you're not staying on topic. So your content must link to your profile. That's the main kind of takeaway, really. And going forward, 360 Brew, it can detect if you are using AI yourself. Um, Posts that follow like obvious AI, like ChatGPT, it won't get as much reach. So if you are using any like GBT, and I know I've shared a GBT thing with you all, do have a look at it and make sure it sounds like you. Sorry, Katrin, I don't know if you stuck something in the comments there. I saw something flash up on the screen. If you did, oh, let me see. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, that's been happening to you. Yeah, sorry.
No,
Sorry.
and that was no, that's okay. That was just about the my people showing up in my feed and my content that are not my followers or
Yeah,
my
yeah. And it's super annoying as well, but it just means you kind of have to go back to talking about what you're focused on, and then the algorithm will show it to the right people. But yeah, it's super annoying, and I know everybody's feeds has changed. One good thing is, I suppose, your content gets longer reach, whereas with the old algorithm years ago, you might only have a post live for a day or two. Now posts can live for like several weeks. But yeah, it's about that relevancy. And I've been guilty of this. You know, you do a post that's not relevant to your audience. Like I did one recently. Um, Sadly, one of my friends, her brother took his life, and I posted about that, and it didn't get great reach. And you're like, um, which is a shame because you want to get reach, but obviously the AI is like, oh, this is not what she talks about, you know. So yeah, it's that relevancy. So now your posts are classified by fingerprints, not hashtags. AI can spot AI content, and to be honest, we all can spot it. You know, those horrible M dashes and horrible emojis, and you can tell if something's completely chat GPT. I'm not dissing it because I do think it's great and I use it a lot for like emails and stuff just to tidy up. But you always have to look back, and I cannot stress that enough, and just make sure it sounds like you. So sometimes I have kind of sections that are completely me, a little bit of GBT and more me. Because going forward, it will definitely be able to recognize patterns and it won't push out as much, which is a good thing because I think we're all sick of like 100% GBT content and absolutely sick of GBT comments. They are just so gross. They make no sense. You know, the author kind of says something and then the comment just repeats it back verbatim, and it's just so shit like. So I'm glad that they won't get the traction. So yeah, going forward, funnily enough, saves are the kind of most important indicator of whether your content is great, and you can see in your metrics how many people have saved it. So I think that's one of the reasons why, you know, the PDFs are really popular, where you've got something you can scroll through. So ask yourself, have you got content that you could repurpose and make into a little visual? You know, it doesn't have to be super long. It could be 2 or 3 slides that people, you know, slide through, because they're the kind of things being saved down, definitely. And diverse engagement is better than high engagement, you know. Visibility no longer depends on the post, it depends on you. It depends on how relevant you are and how much you are engaging as well behind the scenes, which is a good thing, really, because it is meant to be a social network. So I just want to remind everyone watching, just remember to get like LinkedIn working for you, you need to plug in the 4 of these. So presence is your profile. And as I said, with the new AI, your profile is more important than ever. So do make sure it matches your content. You do need to take action as well. You can't be passive just with posting your content. You have to reach out, engage with people who comment on your content or who even like your content if they do an emoji or whatever. Sometimes that is like a good buy-in signal, because we don't all have content that people are going to go, yep, that's me. Not everyone's going to say, yeah, my LinkedIn's shit. You know, and I know I work with a lot of career coaches or divorce coaches. Not everyone's going to say, hey, yeah, I'm going to get divorced and put it out there. Or, you know, I hate my job. So if somebody gives you even an emoji, it's worth starting a conversation with them. You know, take action, go into the DMs and say, thank you for liking my post today. I'd love to know what resonates, and see what happens. See if they step forward and say, yeah, I loved it because I'm really struggling with X. So yeah, you kind of need all of these with the content. Build your profile, take action, connect with the DMs and track. So I just want to caveat that. But human interaction, it still counts, okay? So thoughtful comments, saves, and profile views are the strongest indicators of trust and value at the moment, okay? So comments are really popular at the moment. I think you can get a lot of traction from insightful, clever comments, sometimes more than your actual content itself. So if you're kind of stepping away from content or you don't want to do as much, if you did some clever comments each day on, you know, your ideal clients' content, you will stand out. So do explore comments if you're not doing that currently, because you can really get loads of impressions on a comment, quite often more than your actual content itself. And success on LinkedIn with the content is like anything really. It's about putting in the reps, and being consistent. And if you struggle with consistency or content, I'm going to share the link for AuthoredUp. When I am scheduling, and full disclosure, I was scheduling up till my ban, which was the end of September, and I've kind of stepped back because I'm just reassessing what I want to do with my content going forward. So when I was scheduling, I used AuthoredUp, really cost effective, less than $20 a month, and you can use it for both your profile and your company page, all included. And yeah, really great tech. Great page to follow on LinkedIn as well, their company page, if you want to get some great like content tips from them. I can totally recommend that. So if you're someone who's like, oh, I haven't got the headspace for content or I want to get it out there, I can absolutely recommend scheduling. I will go back to it. I'm just in a percolation phase. And an interesting fact, when people are actually scrolling on LinkedIn, they really only spend like 25 seconds each time they're on LinkedIn, reaching about the 12th post. And next time you're on, have a count and see how far you scroll. So you really need to grab their attention, which is why like having that strong hook or strong title is really important, or that strong topic. So that's why you really want to become known for a certain expertise rather than disparate topics all the time. So you need to make your topic instantly clear. So I just wanted to dive in, and I know I've covered this in other kind of sessions, but I just wanted to talk about different content features as well coming up because I think so many people focus really on short form content on LinkedIn, but there are other ways to get like greater traction. Whatever you use, whatever type of content, whatever type of format, the clearer you are, the easier it will be to get booked. It's all about the clarity, so that you become top of mind. So I just want to talk about these content features again because as I mentioned, like LinkedIn newsletters are up. I'm going to put that on in another tab. But LinkedIn events, if you want more leads quicker, I still think they're a great thing to tap into because you're getting people to step forward and say, do you know what, I'm interested in that topic. Because short form content, it can take a while to get traction. Whereas if you do a one-off event, you get leads step forward quicker. So I use these anytime I'm doing like a live. So I did one yesterday and we had like I think 95 people step forward. So that's 95 leads, and quite often you won't get 95 likes on an individual content post. So I would urge you to explore events if you do run obviously any type of event, whether that's a live, a webinar, an in-person, anything like that. Do check them out. As I said before, newsletters are up 46%. I'm a big fan of long-term content because if you do even one good newsletter a month, you can repurpose it and break it down into shorter content. And it just helps you to be found. I think people are looking for that trust factor a lot more. And I think you can convey that trust and that credibility better. Personally, this is my opinion, in a newsletter rather than short form content, which is not enough. So I'm a massive fan. And if you've not got a newsletter yet, like I would urge you to consider, especially if you already do an email newsletter or you're doing blogs on your website, why not repurpose and reach people on LinkedIn as well? So yes, I'm gonna see. I think Katrin's saying, uh, no. So Katrin's asked me, does LinkedIn penalize you for newsletter content that also lives on other platforms? It doesn't really. The only thing what I might do is change the the main title. But no, it doesn't actually. Unlike other platforms, you'd be penalized. Not so much on LinkedIn. So you can absolutely repurpose. But anytime I've done it with my website and LinkedIn, I've changed just the title. I might move things around. But no, in general, it doesn't penalize you. Yeah. So like if you're already doing stuff for your website or your emails, absolutely repurpose it on LinkedIn. And you may have other things that you can repurpose into a newsletter. So I know I'm giving Shanae a few shout outs on this. It's just because I did a live with her yesterday, but she had amazing notes for the LinkedIn live that we did, and I was like, oh my God, that's a great newsletter just off already that you can repurpose. So another another feature is a LinkedIn Live, and I'll ping a link to Shania so you can. Lives, do they get as much traction as they used to? Not so much, but I think the traction is in the replay, and the more eyeballs you can get, the better. So, um, I know we had 95 people yesterday, and I've seen there's more reviews today. So a lot of people do catch up on the replay. And because it's important to know that with our content, not everybody's ready for it straight away. So people need to get to know you. It's another digital touch point. I think if you show up on video, people will get to know you quicker. I'm pretty sure everyone I've ever worked with one-to-one or on a masterclass has seen me on video. It wasn't just through written content. So you just have to 3% already, and they're the ones obviously you want to be talking to, which is why I really love a newsletter or an event or a live on a specific topic because you try to draw out that 3%. 20% are aware, but they're passive. Obviously, you want the 20% to come as well or read it, but you don't want to be talking to the 77% that aren't even aware they've got the problem. So, the nicher you can be on LinkedIn, the more specific, the better, rather than being general. And if you want to talk to other business owners who more high ticket, more high, premium business owners who've reached a certain stage, just make sure your content reflects that. And I know I've been guilty of this, like trying to help everyone, and you go back to that educational phase. But actually, my ideal clients don't need the 5 tips to this. They need, how the hell do I get clients? I'm sick of relying on referrals. I'm in a different phase. So yeah, just make sure you're super niche so that you are actually talking to the 3% because that's far more valuable than trying to talk to the 100%. And to add to it, people are, some are active, some are semi-active, some are passive. I'm noticing recently a lot more people are definitely less active in the DMs. I totally get people have fallen a bit out of love with LinkedIn, with the algorithm. I totally get it. I fell out of love after my ban. So I do find people they're kind of going through a bit of a funny stage, which is why I love the certain features like the newsletter or the event because it calls out people quicker. Okay. So boosted posts, they're a new thing. So you might have noticed them popping up on your profile asking you, do you want to post this? I noticed it a month or so ago when I was sharing my newsletter again. So they just give you this kind of promote this post to reach people who match it to you. And then if you click into the back end, you can see all of this. And it's similar really to, doing any kind of an ad on Facebook or Google. You can set your amount. So my advice, because people have asked me, are they worth it? And my advice is no. They're not worth it and don't bother about it. The only time you would want to boost a post is if that post already had amazing organic reach. Because if it's a bad post, throwing money at it, if it's got a bad hook, if it doesn't have a good visual, whatever, it's not going to make any difference. So it's a bit like when somebody has a really bad profile and then they upgrade to premium and they're like, oh, I'm on premium. It doesn't make any difference. If your profile's bad, your profile's bad. And it's the exact same for this. So only run ads to boost what is already working for you organically, okay? So just a bit of a cheesy ad there. So boosted ads, if you've had a post that's done really well, that's gone viral, that has a lot of engagement, it's worth it for that. But ask yourself, what kind of post is that? Is that viral post? Does it actually share your expertise or was it on a completely random topic? So for me, boosted posts at the moment, save your money, don't bother. And they might get better over time, but at the moment, no, it's not worth it. And I think the people who get the most out of boosted posts or any kind of paid ads on LinkedIn are larger corporations like banks, who can afford to pay thousands for a boosted ad or a campaign. And for that, they're, trying to get so many targeted followers. But I think for smaller business owners, it just doesn't work at all. So I would save your money or put it into Google Ads. That's personally my thing. So just a reminder to get consistent clients on LinkedIn, you need to do all of these. First, optimize your profile. Like I said, it's more important with the new algorithm. Have the right quality network and create that strategic content strategy. Have those set content pillars, 3 to 5 max, even three, great, just to kind of break down. For me, when I do get my act together, when I stop my percolation, I already know my content strategy will be broken into 3 pillars, and it will be the 3 things I said that you need to get LinkedIn working at the start, which is your profile, content, and the lead gen, the tracking. They will be mine. And I might deviate once a week or whatever, but that they will be mine. So you need clear messaging and that tracking, nurturing system. Like I said, content can start a conversation, but DMs and tracking and follow-up closes, okay? Not spray and pray. So kind of nearly at the end here. So my main kind of advice is focus on what you can control because that's going to make you feel better on LinkedIn and get more reach. Don't worry about things you can't because that makes you stressed, as Mel says. The great thing about the new algorithm is it's going to focus more on quality. You're going to have to be more relevant, which will hopefully make your content a lot easier. Even if you just have one content team, brilliant. It's a bit like, I don't know about you, like Catherine, when you go to a restaurant, I get overwhelmed if the menu is super long. And if there are less choices, I'm actually happier. And it just makes that, oh, that's what I want, or they're the person for me. So I think a lot of us try to be all things and it just doesn't work. So actually simplicity is better and it's gonna help you. And just sort of recap and remind everyone listening on the replay that LinkedIn is golden opportunities if you're willing to lean in. You can get like amazing clients. You can connect with amazing people, find out about awards, opportunities. You can generate PR. There are loads of journalists on LinkedIn. It's not just on Twitter or X. You can find amazing communities to lean into, corporate clients, all the good stuff. But being known on LinkedIn, it's not just about luck, it's about strategically building your reputation. And that counts with who you're connecting to, who you're sending DMs to, and now that's catch and going, that's fine. And how to build your content, have that clear content strategy. And Catherine, when you're watching this, thank you for coming in. It was nice to have somebody live, a live human for a bit of this. So yeah, it's about being strategic going forward. And just remembering your brand isn't measured in analytics, it's measured by sales calls. So the more people you can have conversations with in the DMs, the better, okay? And I think I've got 2 slides left. So I just wanted to showcase lovely Susan, Dr. Susan. She basically is out there all the time using my system. She's an amazingly clear profile. She's an expert when it comes to communication and pitching and everything. That is super clear in her profile. It is super clear in her content. They are matching. She is super active, so she's not passive. She's constantly tracking. And as she said, she's got more leads than she needs, which is a great kind of problem. And I wish all of this for all of you listening today. And it's taking action that builds the momentum because when I started working with Susan, it was about 2 years ago. She had like a good profile and everything, but she wasn't really taking action and she wasn't really posting content. So she is flying, okay? So, and she's on brand the whole time. So do check her out because she's super clear in who she serves in all her content. She's a great example of somebody who's super relevant. She doesn't really go off on tangents. So to recap, timely content will get elevated in the first hour. That happened with the old algorithm, it happens with the new algorithm. So, I suppose don't be doing any posts like super late if your audience aren't on super late. And this used to kill me years ago when I would see amazing people or clients do a post like at 9 p.m. on a Friday evening, and I think, oh no, why didn't you wait till Monday morning when your audience are online? It could be about a win. Oh, I'm in the Guardian, and I was thinking, oh God, you've missed that window opportunity. So yeah, do be mindful of when your audience are online. Consistent teams will boost trust. So it's that consistent. I should have put in congruent as well. Being the same shape everywhere. Native content still wins. External links, they always tank the reach on LinkedIn, which is why I like newsletters, on LinkedIn because you're staying natively on the platform. Likewise, a link to an event, all of them you're staying natively. Whereas I see a lot of people share a link to their podcast or their MailChimp newsletter or their website, and it does tank the reach. You need to build that know, like, and trust, really. I'm not saying don't post them ever. Absolutely do, but post them sparingly. And long comment threads extend post visibility. So don't be shy to put a comment under one of your posts or previous posts to give them another little boost. And like I said, commenting on other people's content is a great way to stand out. Um, and they're mini content as well, because anytime you drop a comment, people are going to see your headshot and your headline, and you can get noticed. You can get really great connections from commenting as well. So that's something that I'd actually urge everyone to do. If you're only posting on LinkedIn yourself once a week, dip in during the week and spread some LinkedIn love in the comments, and you will still be visible. You will still be top of mind. You'll still have that mere exposure effect. You'll still build your brand. So yeah, I'm a big fan of commenting. And that's it, really. I'm just going to check the time and see, did I kind of, oh yeah, I did kind of stick roughly to the hour. So yeah, I just want to stop the share and just say thank you for listening to me. Thank you, Catherine, for joining me as a live human being. And yeah, I hope this has been useful. The new algorithm's not all bad. I like that it's a unified system going in. I like that it's going to penalize a lot of like GBT, well, pure GBT content, and also crappy, AI comments. It's going to get rid of them. It's going to penalize pods doing those stupid comments, which is great. Engagement pods, and if you don't know what an engagement pod is, it's a good thing. But yeah, some nefarious people run them on the side, and they might have like a huge WhatsApp group or yeah, some kind of a group where they're all sharing links and you have to go in and comment. And that's why you see all those silly, comments like great post, well, this is amazing, and it's absolutely banal content. So that's going to be penalized, which is yay. I like the fact that your profile and your content needs to marry up and make sense. I think that's going to make content easier for all of us. It's just going to help us stay on track, stay in our lane, because otherwise it's harder to stand out. So it's just going to make us be more niche and specific. Um, and it just means we can repurpose as well our content again and again and again. And I do say a lot of my one-to-one clients, don't be afraid to repeat yourself. I know this is something I struggled with at the start because I was like, oh my God, I'm so boring. I'm saying the same thing again on a loop. But you really have to, because with the algorithm, you can't control really who's going to see your content, and people will see it at different times. So don't be shy to repurpose, if you're even repurposing and you're using a different visual, that's amazing. Or maybe you want to change the hook, just the hook. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. I'm sure you've all got lots of great content you can use again and again and again. And don't put so much pressure on your content as well to do 100% of the work, because you really need to, I'm afraid, do that outreach as well, and do get into the DMs as well, because that is where the magic's going to ultimately happen. So think of your content as snooker cue. And the DMs pop the black, okay? So yeah, they kind of prime people. But yeah, I'm excited that it's going to be more about relevancy and expertise. What are the bad things about the new algorithm? I think it's just probably because it's in its teething phase and it's all a bit over the show at the moment, but it will sort itself out, in the next few weeks. As I said at the start, do find Richard van der Blom on LinkedIn and follow him because he is the biggest nerd when it comes to the algorithm, and he will probably be gleaning new insights all the time. I let Richard do the hard work for me because my joy is not the algorithm and the metrics and all of that. My joy is the polishing your profile, making you look good, and the connection in the DMs and the tracking. But yeah, Richard is the man. So that's it. Thank you for bearing with me. And like I said at the start, if you have any questions or anything's a bit unclear, don't be shy to ask. And I hope you found this useful. And I look forward to chatting more soon. Take care.